Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new series where I'm going to be previewing every NBA team's 2020-21 season. And today we're starting off in alphabetical order with the Atlanta Hawks. So last season, the Atlanta Hawks were disappointing 20-47. Obviously, a lot of that was due to John Collins missing quite a few games from suspension. But this gave them the sixth pick in the NBA draft, and they drafted Onyeka Okongwu. They also traded for Clint Capela at the last year's trade deadline. But those weren't the only moves they made this offseason. They were one of the most active teams in free agency, going after players. They signed Danilo Gallinari to a 3-year, $60 million deal, Bogdan Bogdanovic to a 4 years, $72 million deal, and then they also signed Chris Dunn and Rajon Rondo. So, the key players for the Atlanta Hawks next season are going to be obviously Trae Young, going into his third season. Last year was a starter on the All-Star team and put up 29 points a game and 9 assists. Obviously a great outside shooter and a great playmaker. We'll see if he can continue to step forward in his game and take strides as the Atlanta Hawks look to win a few more games, or if maybe he'll take a step back. We'll see about that. I'm pretty optimistic. I think he can probably average about the same or maybe even a bit less, but on better efficiency since he has a bit more help this year than last year. There's also John Collins. They haven't agreed to a contract yet, but he's on the contract for one more season. Last year he averaged about 20 and 10, and obviously he missed a few games, so we'll be seeing if he can get back on track and be a key player for them. Obviously just finishing inside, playing the pick and roll with Trae Young, just all those types of things. So what could their lineup project to be? I think their starting lineup will look a bit like Trae Young at point guard, Bogdan Bogdanovic at shooting guard, Gallinari at small forward. You could say he's more of a power forward in the modern NBA, but there's no way they're not starting John Collins and Clint Capela. So that's what their lineup could look like. And then off the bench, Rajon Rondo could provide some playmaking, relieve some of the playmaking duties from Trae Young, let him get off ball, improve his efficiency from three, maybe shoot a few more catch and shoots and a bit less off the dribble. They also have Kevin Huerter, a shooting guard and another great shooter, so he'll be looking to just keep shooting well from three. Also, Cam Reddish, the 10th overall pick in last year's draft, a pretty good rookie season. We'll see if he can have that second year improvement. The same goes for DeAndre Hunter, who projects to be a very good defender, obviously drafted with the 4th overall pick last year. And when you have Trae Young on your team, you need a lot of good defenders, so hopefully he can provide that. And finally, at the center, the rookie Onyeka Okongwu. Obviously, they took him with the 6th overall pick. He projects to be a bit like Bam on defense. So that turns out, obviously, it might not happen in the rookie year, but that would be really good for the Hawks because, like I said, when you have Trae Young, you need a lot of defense. And then for Bogdan Bogdanovic, who will be in the starting lineup, I don't know if he's really the perfect fit alongside Trae Young, but obviously a really talented player who can shoot the ball and create his own shot a bit. That backcourt might struggle on defense, obviously, with Trae Young being so small and just not a good defender, and Bogdan Bogdanovic being like an okay to bad defender, so they might struggle a bit there. And Gallinari about guarding the small forwards. I mean, he'll be fine on like the bigger small forwards, but if you're asking him to guard guys like LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant, then I think he'll struggle quite a bit. And then against smaller, quicker small forwards or shooting guards playing small forwards, he could get beaten on the perimeter since he isn't that quick-footed. And then John Collins, he's also a bit suspect defensively. Can sometimes be good, but is pretty inconsistent, so we'll see about that. And then Clint Capela is a pretty good rim protector, so I think he's really going to have to take some steps defensively for the Hawks to be a good defensive, or at least even an average defensive team. And then offensively, just a lot of shooting with Trae Young, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Gallinari all being very good shooters. And then Collins last year shot 40% from three on more than 3 attempts a game. So I don't know if that's sustainable, but if he can also be a good shooter to open up the lane when Trae Young is running the pick and roll or pick and pop with Gallinari or running it with Clint Capela, that can be really exciting. So I would say overall this team projects to be a very good offense and a bit of a suspect defense. I'd say they'd be doing well to be an average defense. So they'll probably be a bit below average. But if they can be in like 15 to 20 for defense, I think they'd probably be pretty happy with that. As for where will they finish, obviously the East this year is actually looking pretty competitive. The race for the 8th seed and then the race through for the seeds 1 through 7. I think they could be as high as 5th as they if they all the new players mesh well and they play really well together. Then I think this team definitely has the talent and potential to be that good. But then if they're not good defensively and maybe there's problems with who's taking the shots and they're still very young, then I think they could maybe even not make the playoffs, like finish in the 9th seed. For my prediction, I'm going to be a bit conservative here and say they'll finish in the 8th seed. I think the top 7, I think it'll just be a bit too much. I suspect they'll be like within like 10 games of the 4 seed though. Like I think that the back end of the Eastern Conference playoffs is going to be really close. And obviously there are going to be races in teams like the Pacers and the Wizards, maybe the Bulls, like maybe the Hornets. We'll see about that. So I think it's going to be tough, but I'm going to be pretty conservative and say they're going to get the 8th seed. Obviously, a very young team. They're not going to win the championship this year, but they're going to look to be a very good team for years to come. And I think they have a lot of upside. But then also you could say a lot of new pieces that need to mesh this year and a lot of just new players coming in. They need to get used to each other. And obviously when you have Trae Young, you're always going to have to surround him with really good defensive players. And I'm not too sure they've done that. So they could be not great defensively. But I think they're too good not to make the playoffs. So I'm going to say they're going to get the 8th seed. Thanks for watching, guys.